Welcome to the Health Headliner podcast by Tudu Digital. Our content is informational only and not medical advice. Please consult your provider. Now, let's dive into today's headlines.
Imagine the sound of a child's voice finally reaching you, not just with needs, but with thoughts, feelings, and a real desire to connect. What if a carefully designed piece of technology could be the key to unlocking that voice? Building a bridge of understanding where there were once barriers.
That's a really powerful image. It speaks directly to the heart of the communication challenges that, well, so many families face.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into something called AACessTalk. It's an artificial intelligence-powered application that's getting a lot of attention.
Right.
And it's designed not just as like a communication aid, but as a personalized pathway to genuine connection for minimally verbal autistic children and their parents.
Yeah, and our discussion today, it's drawing from some really interesting research. There's a paper just published in the Proceedings of the 2025 CHI conference on human factors in computing systems.
CHI, okay.
Yeah, and importantly, this work actually received the Best Paper Award there, which really highlights its significance. We're also looking at a related health news article that kind of sheds light on the real-world impact it's starting to have.
Okay, great. So our goal here is to really understand how AACessTalk functions, what makes it noteworthy, what the initial findings are showing us, and maybe where the researchers are hoping to go with this.
Sounds good.
So maybe start us off. What was the fundamental problem, the challenge that sort of led them to create AACessTalk in the first place?
Well, the core issue, it really lies in the significant difficulties that families of minimally verbal autistic children often face. Just establishing that meaningful back and forth communication.
Right, not just requests, but actual conversation.
Exactly. And while traditional augmentative and alternative communication tools, they offer support, sure, but they frequently struggle. They don't always adapt well to the dynamic needs and, crucially, the specific interests of each child.
So they can feel a bit static.
Yeah, kind of static, maybe limiting. They might not fully capture the child's desire for genuine interaction.
And AACessTalk is specifically designed to tackle those limitations, is that right? How does it actually work?
Precisely. AACessTalk, it's an artificial intelligence-based communication tool. It was developed through quite an interesting collaboration.
Oh.
Yeah, between researchers at the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, KAIST, and also NAVER AI Lab and the Dodakim Child Development Center. The whole idea is communication that's both highly personalized and really sensitive to the immediate context.
Okay, personalized and context sensitive. So what are some of the specific features that make it different from, say, those more traditional tools you mentioned?
Well, there's several key things that make it stand out. First, it uses personalized vocabulary cards.
Okay.
So unlike just a generic set of words, these cards are specifically chosen based on that child's individual interests and the situations they actually encounter day to day.
Right. Tailored to them.
Exactly. And second, it offers context-based conversation guides for parents. These are like tailored prompts designed to help parents initiate and, sustain interactions with their child.
Those personalized guides sound like they could be really helpful, especially for parents who might feel a bit unsure how to start or keep it going.
Definitely. And another crucial element is a large turn pass button.
A turn pass button?
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it's really empowering for the child. It lets them clearly signal when they want to start or end their turn in the conversation. It gives them a much greater sense of control, of agency.
Agency, right. That makes sense. What else?
And lastly, there's a feature called the What About Mom, Dad button.
Interesting name.
It is. And it's designed specifically to encourage the child to actually ask about their parents' thoughts and feelings. So it actively fosters that mutual engagement, that back and forth flow.
Wow, that What About Mom, Dad button, that really seems to push beyond just expressing needs. It sounds like it's aimed at building like a shared understanding.
Exactly that.
So how did the researchers figure out if these features were actually effective? How did they test it?
Right. So the team conducted a pilot study. It ran for 2 weeks and involved 11 families who have minimally verbal autistic children.
Yeah.
This let them see firsthand, how the kids and their parents actually interact with AACessTalk in their normal everyday routines.
Okay, 11 families, 2 weeks. And what did they observe? What were the main outcomes from that initial trial? Any surprises?
There were definitely some encouraging observations. They saw that the children tended to initiate conversations more often using the app.
Okay, taking the lead more?
Yes. And perhaps most Hearteningly, parents reported discovering new aspects of their children's language abilities. They even heard them using words they hadn't heard them use before.
Wow.
And a really significant finding was that parents frequently described having what they called a meaningful exchange with their children for the very first time using this system.
As the first time. That's huge.
It really is. And beyond that, the children also showed promising signs of kind of breaking free from more repetitive communication patterns. It suggested a new flexibility in how they interacted.
Those initial findings sound incredibly positive. It seems like it fostered a deeper connection pretty quickly then.
It certainly seems that way from the pilot data.
And you mentioned this research was recognized at a pretty major conference.
Yes, that's right. The research paper received the Best Paper Award at the Association for Computing Machinery Conference on Human Factors in Computing Systems, CHI,
Right.
in 2025.
Right, CHI.
And that's a very selective, very prestigious international forum. It focuses specifically on that interaction between technology and the human experience.
That award really does underscore the potential impact here and the innovative nature of this work. So thinking bigger picture, what are the broader implications if these initial successes hold up? What could this mean?
Well, the potential is genuinely transformative, I think. AACessTalk offers a pathway to fundamentally change how minimally verbal autistic children and their families communicate.
How so?
It moves beyond just addressing the basic needs, the I want juice type requests, and opens up possibilities for real dialogue, richer emotional bonds. And that turn pass button we talked about, that plays a vital role in empowering the children, giving them that control within the conversation.
And the what about mom, dad button, as we discussed, seems key to building that mutual awareness, maybe even empathy.
Precisely. The study strongly suggests that artificial intelligence, when designed this way, can be a powerful catalyst.
Yeah.
Not just for facilitating the mechanics of communication, but for actively strengthening family relationships. And what's particularly noteworthy here is the human-centered approach they took to the artificial intelligence. It ensures the design really prioritizes the unique needs and experiences of neurodiverse individuals.
That human-centered aspect feels critical. Okay, it all sounds remarkably promising, but with any initial study like this, there are usually limitations we need to consider. What were some of the constraints here?
That's a really important point to raise. Yes, the pilot study, while encouraging, involved a relatively small group, just 11 families.
Right.
And it was conducted over a fairly short period, only 2 weeks. So while the results are very positive, we definitely need larger scale research. We need more diverse groups of participants studied over longer time frames to really validate these findings and get a better handle on the long-term effects of using AACessTalk.
Okay.
And also the specific characteristics of the children who participated in this first study, their individual communication profiles, that might influence how broadly we can generalize these results to all minimally verbal autistic children.
That makes perfect sense. So the initial signals are strong, but more research is needed to paint the full picture. Did the lead researcher, Professor Hong, share any particular insights about the project's goals?
Yes, Professor Huazhong Hong. She's from the Department of Industrial Design at KAIST and led this research. She really emphasized the critical importance of empowering children, empowering them to find and express their own voices. She highlighted how artificial intelligence holds significant potential to act as a meaningful bridge, fostering genuine connection and deeper understanding within families who've often faced pretty significant communication barriers.
And the fact that this work got that Best Paper Award at CHI, that really speaks volumes about its impact within the human-AI interaction field, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Getting that kind of recognition at a major international conference focused squarely on how humans and technology interact, it just underscores how innovative and significant this research is seen within the scientific community.
Yeah, definitely. So as we start to wrap up our deep dive into AACessTalk, what are some of the maybe key takeaways or things you'd like our listeners to really consider?
Well, I think this research really encourages us all to think more broadly about the potential of, specifically, human-centered artificial intelligence, how it can support a whole spectrum of diverse communication needs.
Okay.
It prompts us to think about how technology can be thoughtfully designed, not just to assist, but to truly empower individuals and to cultivate deeper human connections, especially, for those who experience communication barriers.
And for listeners who are intrigued by this and maybe want to learn more about this whole area.
I'd really encourage you to explore the growing field of augmentative and alternative communication, AAC. And specifically, keep an eye on the evolving role that artificial intelligence is playing within it. There are many exciting developments happening.
Right. Well, today's deep dive into AACessTalk certainly provides a compelling look at this intersection of artificial intelligence and really thoughtful human-centered design. It offers, I think, a hopeful glimpse into a future where technology can genuinely improve understanding and connection within families. The early success of this app, highlighted by that Best Paper award, it really marks an important step forward. A step towards empowering minimally verbal autistic children and strengthening those crucial relationships with their parents.
It feels like a very positive direction.
Yeah. And as researchers continue to refine and expand on these kinds of technologies, hopefully we can anticipate more practical, more inclusive solutions that truly honor neurodiversity and just create better experiences for everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to the Health Headliner podcast by To Digital. Like and subscribe for more health news and breakthroughs. Stay healthy and informed. See you next time.